The cardiovascular system includes the heart and the blood vessels. The heart pumps blood and the blood vessels channel and deliver it throughout the body. Arteries are thick-walled tubes that contain a filling of muscle that absorbs the pressure wave of a heartbeat and slows the blood down. They carry blood filled with nutrients away from the heart to all parts of the body. Veins have thin walls because the blood pressure has lost the pressure, which forces it out of the heart and delivers deoxygenated blood back to the heart.
This is the sheep heart, and these are the external portions of the heart. Starting with the aorta, which is the largest single blood vessel in the body. This vessel carries oxygen-rich blood from the left ventricle to the various parts of the body. Then there's the brachiocephalic trunk, the pulmonary trunk, the right auricle, and the left auricle. And the auricles are tissue that projects from the atrial chambers. Moving down, you have the right ventricle and the left ventricle. The right ventricle receives deoxygenated blood as the right atrium contracts. The left ventricle receives oxygenated blood as the left atrium contracts. The intraventricular sulcus separates the ventricle from the left ventricle, and the apex is down from the left ventricle. These are the posterior external structures of the heart. And first you have the superior vena cava, which is one of the two main veins that brings deoxygenated blood from the body to the heart. The veins from the head and upper body feed into the superior vena cava, which empties into the right atrium of the heart. The inferior vena cava is the other main vein that brings deoxygenated blood from the body to the heart. The veins from the legs and lower torso feed into the inferior vena cava, which also empties into the right atrium. The pulmonary vein is the vessel that transports oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the left atrium. This is the internal right side of the heart, which you have the right atrium, which receives deoxygenated blood from the body to the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, in which the inferior vena cava is here and the superior vena cava is up in here. You have the right ventricle down there, right in here, which receives deoxygenated blood from blood as the right atrium contracts. The myocardium, the papillary muscles attached to the lower portion of the anterior wall of the ventricles. They connect to the chordae tendineae, which attach to the tricuspid valves in the right ventricle and the mitral valve in the left ventricle. The contraction of the papillary muscles opens these valves, and when the papillary muscles relax, the valves close. The tricuspid valve separates the right atrium from the right ventricle. It allows the deoxygenated blood collected in the right atrium to flow into the right ventricle. It closes as the right ventricle contracts, preventing blood returning to the right atrium. The internal structures on the left side of the heart, you start with the left atrium, which receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary vein, and the left ventricle, which receives oxygenated blood as the left atrium contracts. The blood passes through the mitral valve into the left ventricle. The mitral valve, seen up in here, separates the left atrium from the left ventricle, and it opens to allow the oxygenated blood collected in the left atrium to flow into the left ventricle. It closes as the left ventricle contracts, preventing the blood flowing into the left atrium. These are the blood vessels of the cat, starting first on the heart with the right ventricle and the left ventricle, the right auricle of the heart, and the aortic arch. And then you have the brachiocephalic artery, which branches off into three major branches, including the right synclavian artery, the right common carotid artery, and the left common carotid artery. The right common carotid artery gives off branches to the neck muscles, the thyroid gland, and the trachea. And the right subclavian artery, down shown in here, gives off 4 branches, which are the vertebral artery, the costocervical trunk, the thyrocervical trunk, and the internal mammary artery. Outside of the cat, you have the brachial artery, which supplies the blood to the upper forelimb and lower forelimb, the subscapular artery, which supplies blood to the anterior scapula and the surrounding muscles, the left axillary artery supplies blood to the axillary region and superior ribs. The thyrocervical artery supplies blood to the muscles of the head and the neck, the head and the chest, and the left transverse artery branches off of the thyrocervical artery. The thyrocervical artery and the internal mammary artery branch off of the left subclavian artery, and the mammary artery drains the chest and abdominal walls.